You ready
Mark
for
Rogers
this?
TV talking USC football, but we only do it with Nick Dempsey from Conquest Chronicles each and every Wednesday night. And Nick, we talked in a previous segment about USC spring practices. Clay Helton would like to see a couple guys that were involved in pro day back on the practice field for USC, but they have made their decision. So it's off to impress the NFL scouts that have made their way to Los Angeles.
Yeah, today was USC Pro Day. About 15 guys participated. The two big names, obviously, Adoree Jackson and Juju Smith-Schuster. Our old friend Pete Carroll was actually back on campus today for Pro Day, checking it out. I don't know. I don't have any hard confirmation who he was there to see, if he was just hanging out. With Pete, could honestly be either one. But it's, it was always an encouraging photo op when you see the USC Trojan head coach Clay Helton chatting it up with Pete Carroll. But yeah, so a lot of big names down at USC today. I think probably the highlight of the day would be Adoree Jackson, who he didn't do any running drills. He posted a great 40 time, and everybody knows that kid's fast. But he did all of the defensive back drills. But he showed off a little bit and did some punt returns. Except he did at least one of them while holding 3 footballs, and then receiving a 4th. And he actually pulled it off. So that's I don't even think I could do that with one. But
is that an NFL rule change that I missed for next season, that those guys are going to have to do that?
It would certainly make it more exciting. But yeah, he pulled it off, and I don't know if whose idea that was. I can't imagine a scout just saying, "Hey, why don't you hold on to 3 footballs while we kick another one at you?" But he pulled it off. He did all of the defensive back drills, and for the most part, he did them pretty well. I think seems to be the primary concern about him, is sort of that technique as a defensive back. Everyone knows he's freakishly athletic. No one's concerned about that. But in terms of, actually the technique and the fundamentals of playing defensive back, I think more scouts want to see that. And so he did that today. Similar situation with Juju Smith-Schuster. He showed off his hands, ran all the pass catching drills, did a great job. He made an emphasis, according to him, to celebrate after every catch, because according to him, he celebrated one time at USC after making a catch and he got a penalty. So he's glad now that he's headed to the NFL that he'll be able to celebrate. So he wanted to, I guess, show off his celebration moves early, just so everybody knows what they're getting. 2 key stats today that I thought were actually pretty interesting. Wide receiver Isaac Whitney, who had minimal production while at USC. He just did not do a lot. He actually ran a faster. He was at Pro Day today. He ran a faster 40 time than Adoree Jackson did by like 100th of a second. I think Adoree was 4.42, and he was 4.41. And he looked sharp in the pass catching drills, but he never really showed anything off while in games at USC. So I think he probably got on some people's radars. I'm not saying he's jumping up anybody's board, but I think he's going to be in the back of a lot of scouts' minds. So that's pretty interesting that he outran Adoree. And then the other stat I found interesting out of Pro Day is Zach Banner, the big, huge lineman. Biggest concerns from him that scouts had were his weight, and as a result, his athleticism. He's as weird as it sounds, a lot of folks are worried he's too big for the NFL, because not only is his weight big, but he's also 6'8". So a lot of guys are worried that he's not going to be athletic enough. But he is down about 40 pounds since the Rose Bowl. The guy's already lost 40 pounds and did not have a stomach bug like other players on the team. I guess he just did it the old-fashioned way. But yeah, he's down 40 pounds. He came out today. He really wanted to show his athleticism, because everybody knew he was big and powerful. He could push people around, but if he's not quick enough off that first step to beat an edge rusher, there's not a lot of use for him as a tackle. And so that was his goal today. By most accounts, he did impress. At 40 pounds lighter, certainly much sleeker. So I think Juju, Adoree, and Zach Banner had great days. I think Isaac Whitney got on some people's radars. But all in all, a great day for USC. I don't know yet where if anybody moved up or down dramatically on anybody's draft board. Certainly the rumors would be flying about that for the next, what do we have, month or so, a month and a half. But I think it was a great day. And it's always good when Pete Carroll's back in town, so we'll take it. But yeah, I think Adoree did the most impressing.
During this down time in USC football post Pete Carroll with the scholarship reductions, there have still been those star players make it in the NFL from USC, but we've seen the numbers go down. It only makes sense that the numbers have been down in terms of scholarships and in roster size, and then in players making their way to the NFL. This is a very small indication, but 16 players at Pro Day compares favorably with Alabama with 17 or 18 at Pro Day. So maybe there's a small indication that the roster is bulking up once again at the highest of levels to prepare those guys for the NFL. And not all those guys are going to make NFL rosters most likely, but it at least indicates that the scouts are there and that all those guys have a shot to make it to the next level.
Yeah, it's also good, I think, for USC because all of the rumors were flying back during the combine that really the only player everybody was talking about was Sam Darnold, even though not only was he not at the combine, he's not draft eligible this year. So it's good that a lot of these guys were able to get in front of scouts. Really show off their skills, get another opportunity. 16, yeah, it is a little crowded, but I think that's good for the numbers. But I will say it's also a little scary because they're losing a lot of talent. The Trojans are this year, both in leadership positions and statistically, they're losing a lot of production. But that also just helps recruiting to get more guys drafted in the first round. These kids come out, they see if they go to USC, they got a good chance of making some sweet NFL money. So that's certainly exciting from a long-term program health standpoint. But yeah, I'd love to see some of these guys just get an opportunity. I think they could impress.
Nick Dempsey from Conquest Chronicles joining us to break down USC's Pro Day as 16 Trojans try to make it to the NFL. Nick, we always appreciate it.
Of course, Mark, anytime.